Hey, Shalom family, Shalom. How y'all doing this evening?
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
All right, man.
Shalom.
All right. So tonight is going to be a nice night. We'll see how far we're going to get. We'll go ahead and say a prayer real quick. Father, thank you so much for bringing us together tonight. And Yahweh, shall we thank you for everything that you continue to do for us. You're working hard in order to carry out this grand plan that you've had for such a long time, and that we're blessed that you've made us a part of, and we're trying to do what we can to make sure that we are included. Father, please continue to open our understanding. Yahweh shall please open our understanding. Please continue to give us grace and mercy and patience, and continue to awaken the dry bones, so that we can come to the marriage. Help us to deal with these issues of the flesh. Help us to deal with the issues that are in this world. We ask you to also strengthen our marriages and our relationships, Father, because this whole thing is about family. So we just thank you so much for being patient with us and keeping us at the forefront of your mind. Help us to keep you at the forefront of our mind, and that's a place that you should never leave. Just help us with our dedication to you. In Yahweh Shai's name, we pray. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right. So we're gonna move somewhat fast, and I will see what's up. But basically, it's a pretty special night, because what we're going to talk about is Purim. We're going to talk about Purim. Is anybody? I know you guys are vets now, but is everybody familiar with feast days? Anybody heard of feast days before?
Yes, yeah.
I feel odd even saying that to y'all. So feast days are holy days that are designated by the Most High for worship and different remembrance, like different remembrances and worships of different sorts throughout Israel. And those are things we're supposed to keep perpetually. So even in the kingdom, we'll still be keeping these holy days. And the holy day, that's where holidays, the word holiday comes from, is a derivation of holy day, or bastardization of holy day. Can anybody name any of the feast days, any of the holy days? Anybody? Any feast days in the chat?
Feast of Tabernacles?
Feast of Tabernacles, absolutely. That's one. Feast of Dedication. Feast of Dedication, Feast of Trumpets, Passover, absolutely. These are different feasts, and these are the holy days that are ordained in the scriptures. And actually, Q, you just mentioned one that was really, really good, because the majority of them were designated by the Most High. And those things are mandatory. Day of Atonement, all these different things are mandatory. However, we have two that they're not ordained by the Most High. So some people view them as not mandatory, because they were created by men. They were created by Israelites. However, it's something that even Yahweh Shai kept these things. Feast of Dedication is one of them, and the other one is Purim. So Purim is actually coming up. So on the Hebrew calendar, this is now the month of Adar, and this is actually the last month of the Hebrew calendar. This is the last month of the Hebrew calendar. I know the Gregorian calendar just changed, daggone 3 months ago at this point, but it's actually spring is pretty much the beginning of the Hebrew calendar, the calendar that the Most High designated. So this month is the month of Adar, according to the luminaries. And so on the 14th, I believe it's the 14th or 15th of the month of Adar is when we celebrate Purim. So we're going to discuss that tonight, because it's a really awesome thing, to be honest with you. And I recently learned more about it, so we're going to talk about it. We'll see how much we can get through tonight. Let's see here. So it's really good. It's really good because it really discusses a great bit of our history. going on in this is all in the book of Esther. Actually, it's all in the book of Esther, and Esther was a phenomenal Israelite, woman. So it's great to hear. It's great to read through her story because she's phenomenal. But not only is it history, it's actually prophetic as well. So we're going to see if we can identify some of these different things as we go through some of the story. But before we get started here, we got a little movie time we want to go through. All right, y'all got the popcorn ready? Because I've been thinking about the ladies, and I want to show y'all my dream girl, man. But I don't want y'all to get jealous. So look, man, don't nobody try to steal it from me. Is all I'm saying. There's a law of jealousy. So don't y'all get me started now. All right, let me get this thing. I'm blown up. Can y'all see this? Y'all see this? The black screen. Let me see how big this thing is. All right, let's get going.
How long is it gonna take? How long is this gonna take? How long is this gonna take?
We can do it right now.
Yeah, how long is this gonna take?
Okay, well, I need.
No, how long is it gonna take for you to continue to talk to him so I can get up and go? I do have work to be at. So how long is this gonna take?
You gotta deal with her like this.
It don't even matter what are you gonna do with. How long is it gonna take? Because I want to be here for real.
No, you don't have to be here.
Exactly. I don't have to be here.
Do you love him?
I don't have to be here. Love him to do with it. Nothing to do with it.
Okay, so
Can you not what?
at least let
You don't know here. Exactly.
Man.
He ain't going nowhere. Next.
What I need, I'm just gonna continue to talk because I have to say it. You have to give me consent to record this session and agree to a lie detector test today.
Yeah, okay.
First of all, every time the phone rings,
It's a call. Business.
can I what's going on? She got to get up and run out the room. All of a sudden now she
Yeah, a lie detector test because he loves you. Because he loves you, that's why.
If you love somebody, you don't think they cheat.
Well, there's gotta be a reason why.
So I swear to God, this is stupid. Like, I want to go, bruh.
Do this for me.
I want to go.
I need.
Like, this what I got to do for you if I'm wrong.
If I'm wrong, you expect me to stay again?
If you're wrong.
Again?
Yeah.
Oh, so this isn't, okay, so we're gonna start right now. Is your name Tasha?
Is your name Joe?
Tasha, yes or no? That's all I needed. Lie detector test determined that was the truth. I asked, is your boyfriend's name Jay? She says yes. Lie detector test determined that was the truth.
Of course, like it is. Now you don't even have to it out
Let
because
me
the first
finish,
two
please.
true. Okay.
Story from Jay. She says no. Lie detector test determined that was a lie.
Toothpaste.
You take.
So toothpaste was a
In
thing.
the last 30 days, have you used the internet to meet other men? She says no. Lie detector test determined that was a lie.
Like we can really just get the.
I asked in the last 30 days, have you unprotected with anyone other than Jay? She says no. Lie detector test determined that was a lie. I asked in the past 30 days, you use the internet to meet other women. Lie detector test determined that was a lie. I asked, have you had protected with anyone other than Jay? That's right, I saw the test. She says no. Lie detector test determined that was a lie. I asked, have you had protected with anyone other than Jay? She says no. Lie detector test determined that was a lie. That is all a lie. I asked the question that you came in for here today, Jay. I said, are you cheating on Jay? She says no. Lie detector test. And then it was a lie. She lied about everything. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with a taser. You need to stop.
But it tastes me.
Listen, Mom, we went down right. I'm ready to take this off and be the out of both.
I would love to see you take your wig off because I want to see how bald you are. Right here. Oh, you know who this is right here? You know who this is? She's been with him right here.
Yeah, God got the money or something.
He care. Okay, so he already knows who I am. That's what he's saying.
That's what I'm
All
like.
these people like this, you got me looking.
You said.
You can get out. Don't.
That's her.
Sure, that's the right one.
It's my lady.
That was a lot.
You
That was
can
a lot.
have her. No, you can't have her.
Oh, man.
I would break that up quick, man. Like, no, you're not going to hell for her. She gonna take you to hell, man.
That's pretty bad.
That's the ratchet of the ratchet.
I'm not sharing anymore, am I? Did I turn it off? Share is off, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so just wanted to, take a look at that. We're gonna see how she compares to dear old Aunt Esther. Okay. But yeah, so that's, I would say the feminism movement. That's a taste of what it produces.
Shame and a disgrace.
Shame and a disgrace. Difficult to deal with. Who would want to do? I mean, goodness, promiscuous, all kinds of lying, stealing, all kinds of. Anyway, let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and flip to. So again, we like to park that stuff in our mind just so we have things to, kind of help us as we go through the script. So definitely not this is a nightmare of a human being. Hard to believe somebody like that exists, but anyway. We're going to go to the book of Esther. Let me see here. All right, let me get my screen together. Uh-oh. All right, so anybody want to read tonight? We are going to be doing a pretty good amount of reading tonight because we're going to, the book of Esther is where you'll find the story pertaining to Purim. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be going through that a pretty good degree. We're going to have to go at a pretty good pace here. All right. So off the bat,
I'll read first.
Okay, cool. Appreciate that, sis. We're gonna do Esther 1. We're gonna be skipping around a little bit. We're gonna do verses 2 and 3, then 5, 2 through 3. Then we're gonna go 5, 7, 9 through 13. All right, we'll just go 2 through 3, 2 and 3. Then we'll go to 5. Okay.
Okay.
But you can go ahead.
Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus. This is Ahasuerus, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 127 provinces.
So off the back, let me let you keep on going. We'll see what he says in 2. What it says in 2 and 3. Okay. Go ahead.
Verse 2. That in those days, when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan the palace. Mm-hmm. In the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces being before him.
So real quick, so King Ahasuerus, this is all taking place in the Medo-Persia Empire. So this is after Babylon, like we looked at that statue of Daniel. The Medo-Persian Empire took over after they conquered Babylon and took over. Babylon had already taken, Judah into captivity. So Persia just went on and inherited Judah, basically. So that's why we have some Israelites over there. So we see this is over 127 provinces. So this is a huge kingdom. A huge kingdom. Those are all places that have been conquered. All right, sister, we'll go to 5 and then we're going to go to 7.
Verse 5. And when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan the palace, both unto great and small, 7 days in the court of the garden of the king's palace. Mm-hmm. Verse 7. Excuse me. And they gave them drink in vessels of gold, the vessels being diverse one from another. and royal wine in abundance, according to the state of the king.
So the king is throwing a big celebration. So again, this is the king, and he's pulling all the all the good stuff, the vessels of gold, all of these different things, royal wine. So this is a big deal. This is a big deal. He's doing it for all of.
He froze.
Brother, he froze.
The king. So it's a big deal. So let's go down to 9. We're gonna go 9 through 13.
Verse 9.
I think it's saying my internet. I think it's messing up. 9 through 13, sister.
Okay. Also, Vashti, the queen, made a feast for the women in the royal house, which belonged to King Ahasuerus.
So real quick, Vashti, like you said, is one of his queens. He has says women, so he has multiple wives. He's a king. He has multiple wives. Vashti is like the lead queen, we'll just say. She's the lead queen, and she's having her own little feast. She's not at his. She's having her own little feast for the women, separate from his. All right, go ahead, sister.
Verse 10. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman.
You can skip all those names. The 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king. So those are all some people, basically some servants of his. That's all. So you can skip that part. Back down to 11.
To bring Vashti, the queen, before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look on.
So she was the bomb. She was a pretty lady. And again, so he got some servants to go summon her, so he could, show her off. He wanted to show her off. All right, we'll do 12 and 13.
But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. Mm-hmm. Then the king said to his wise men, which knew the times, for so was the king's manner toward all that knew law and judgment.
All right, so basically, she refused the king, and that is something that'll get you killed. That's something that will absolutely get you killed. You don't do that, and let alone that's very embarrassing. This is after he's done a big old celebration, and this is his wife, and his wife is not obeying what he says. Not only is he a man, but he's a king on top of that. It's just a bad situation. But Vashti, I think so far Vashti has reminded me a little bit of my former dream girl. Does that make sense? Vashti has a little bit of that in her, it sounds like, because she's not cooperating. Is she very cooperative? She's set up her own shop. She's going to throw her own feast for the women. You know what I'm saying? So she's looking for her own honor. You see what I'm saying? Looking for her own honor amongst the women. And then she's going to, you can take that as showing off, and I'm going to show him. No,
she's a bad bee, ain't she?
That's right. She's a bad bee, a boss bee, and she's displaying that in front of the other ladies. And this is with a boss bee does not appeal to a guy. That term appeals to other women. Mm-hmm. So this is that same thing going on. I'm gonna show you I'm a boss bee. I'm a bad girl. Like all of these little shows they have promoting, misbehavior and all kinds of stuff from women on TV. So where were we, sister? I get lost. We
were at I just finished 13.
Okay. All right, go ahead, sister. I'm sorry. 15.
So go on 14.
Now we're going to do 15 through 22. 15 through 22.
Okay, verse 15. What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to law? Because she have not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlains. And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen have not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus. Mm-hmm. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes when it shall be reported. The king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti, the queen, to be brought in before him, but she came not. Mm-hmm. Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this say this day unto all the king's princes, which have heard of the deed of the queen. Thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath.
So right now they're saying that, look, Vashti did this. The rumor of her of what she did is going to get to all of the other women, and that's going to infect all of the other women with this basically it's a Jezebel type spirit, and they're going to start being disobedient to their husbands and that's going to mess up the whole order of the entire nation. So not only is it just the king's house, but they see this as something that's going to pollute the entire nation, and this is not even the Israelite nation. So this is, but they see how dangerous this is and how much of a violation this is. Does that make sense? And so
yes and no.
Well, so they see how this is going to. Well, I see what you're saying, sister. I got what you're saying. I agree. But they're about to pollute everything. And this is going to create complete disorder. You can look at our country right now, and to get a piece of that, completely upside down. Not completely, but almost is very upside down. It's not working according to order whatsoever.
It's worse than that.
I agree with you. Okay, so they're like, hold on, we got to stop. We got to nip this in the bud right now. So I think we're at 19.
Yes. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she.
Getting her up out of there. Go ahead, sister. 20.
And when the king's decree which he shall make shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small. Mm-hmm. And the same pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word of Memucan. Mm-hmm. For he sent letters into all the king's provinces, into every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of every people.
So again, like we talked about, that was about to be a violation of the entire kingdom. All 127, portions of it were about to be violated. So they wanted to catch that, ahead of time to make sure that, hey, we can't, lose our order like this. So that's what they did. They had to kick her up out of there. So that attitude, that Jezebel spirit, which is the same spirit that is with feminism.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same
Mother
thing.
Eve. She got Mother Eve syndrome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, so this is not, we do have these different, laws in our law, statutes, and commandments. However, we see that this need for respect that burns in the heart of every man. Period. It's a need. It's an absolute need. So, and I say that because this is a Gentile nation, and they see the same issue, with that type of behavior and how that can tarnish a nation. It tarnishes a whole nation. So, with that being said, we're going to do another little, short movie here. As soon as I can figure it out. Okay. Make this a little smaller. Hold up. All right. Were y'all even y'all were able to hear it last time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I thought I forgot to hear something. All right, here we go. Hope that's not the play button. All right, here we go.
I'm going to run it back one more time. One more time.
And to be quite honest with you, I don't care why you're masculine.
It don't even matter.
I don't care what happened to you as I'm a 40-year-old man.
You got a daughter?
No, I don't.
Because we can bear if you're feminine.
But my point is this.
Right.
You all wouldn't care if a man came to you feminine and said, my dad wasn't in my life. My mom didn't teach me this. You say, bro, you're 38 years old. I don't want to deal with a feminine man that hasn't addressed his issues. So for me, dealing with a woman that way, I'm going to tell you the same thing. I understand you had issues or whatever growing up and you had to be a certain way, but I'm not going to put up with it as far as trying to be in a relationship with you because you don't know how to be a feminine woman.
So what's a feminine woman? What's your definition?
A woman that basks in her femininity. She knows how to be submissive to a man. She knows how to speak life into a man. She knows how to nurture. She knows how to take care of a home and take care of kids. She knows how to be accountable. She knows how to be reasonable. She knows how to be understanding when she's dealing with a man and knows which battles to choose when she's dealing with them.
Let me tell you something. Okay. I love this entire clip, but the main thing that I love about this conversation is the ending part of how he described a feminine woman. But we're going to start from
Allie, show me your ring.
Oh, here.
Now, tell me what you do for a living.
Oh, I love my husband.
And how did you get that awesome job?
Good answer.
Well, I became a better human being, and I became feminine and also shocking, submissive. So that was the secret.
So what are your tips to women that want to be a housewife?
To embrace it. It's an actual job. You just can't get it in the public or private sector. Like you need a man to hire you for it, but that's okay. Because if you think about it, you submit to your boss who makes you clean stupid shelves at your retail job, right? Like, wouldn't it be better if you were cleaning your own shelves at home? You know what I mean? And your boss wants to sleep with you in a good way. In a good way.
And where do you meet these men?
Well, I think women should work for the men that they want to pursue. I know that sounds crazy, but it's really easy. So if you think about it, like you want a lawyer, right? So then you should be a paralegal, or if you want a dentist, then you should be a dental hygienist. But these are considered, I guess, high value status professions. But I think that's a really good model that not enough women utilize. Because women will bully the woman who is the secretary that married the doctor, okay? But who has the last laugh? Like her in her McMansion with her husband who's high and the babies. Like that's who has the last laugh. So.
Now you got.
Well, I had to learn this. I do not correct my husband. I believe that it is my responsibility to have the confidence to give him my perspective. Then we can talk about it and he can self-correct. I love him so much and I desire to honor and respect him. And I married him, so I would assume that he wants me to feel the same exact way. To take my perspective into high consideration with his actions. But I married a grown man. I'm not going to be disrespectful and talk to him like a child.
Amen.
Well, I had to learn.
So first of all, ladies, I hope y'all see how all the guys are reacting to these different things. They are liking. They're hearing the music and they're ready to dance to what you're saying.
I'm ready to do a two-step.
So that's just feminism versus femininity. Feminism versus femininity. One is combative, one is cooperative, and breeds happiness and success. We've been sold a lot of lies. We'll probably do another class on that because obviously, so right now it may seem like I'm getting on the women and it's necessary, and it's necessary to get on the men as well because again, this is a whole family. We all need correction, but we got to get to the root of it. We have to get to the root of it, and we also have to understand what the goal is, and we also have to understand that there are folks that don't have our collective goal or our end goal in mind. Well, they have their end goal for us, and their end goal for us does not match what we truly want. But sometimes we're blinded by things, so we got to get these blinders off so we can actually get to what the Most High has for us. And again, what we see. There are things that are produced. There's an agenda that has produced what we saw in that first video, and so we have to combat that agenda with the ways of the Most High. That's going to produce what He wants, which is much closer to what you see in that second video. Does that make sense? All All right. Well, whether y'all said yes or not, I'm just going to believe everybody said yes. I complete. All right. We're going to go to Esther 2, Esther chapter 2. And I'm moving so slow. Not sure if we can get through all this or not. Let me, all right. Esther chapter 2. All right.
I'll take it again. Nobody else want it.
Okay, sis, that sounds good. We're gonna do we'll do 1 and 2, and then we're gonna skip to 4 through 7. So we'll do 1 and 2, then 4 through 7.
Okay. Verse 1. After these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done and what was decreed against her. Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, let there be fair young virgins sought for the king.
Replacement time. All right, let's do 4 through 7.
And let the maiden which pleaseth the king be queen instead of Vashti. And the thing pleased the king, and he did so.
Sorry.
Now in Shushan the palace there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite, who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity which had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Judah.
Oh, that's so that's the I'm sorry. Go ahead, sister. No, you're right. You're right.
Whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away.
So that's just the Babylonian captivity that we were talking about before, and the Medo-Persian Empire just inherited that. Go ahead, sis. 7, and then we're going to go 9 through. I'm sorry. We're going to go after 7. We'll do 9 through 11. Okay.
Okay. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter.
So Mordecai and Esther are cousins, and we see Esther. Mordecai took on as his daughter, and we see that Esther she's a pretty girl. She's a pretty lady, man. And we'll see what type of personality she has as well. Let's go 9 through 11.
And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness in him, and he speedily gave her things for purification, with such things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens, which were meet to be given her out of the king's house. And he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of the women. Esther had not showed her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not show it. And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the woman's house to know how Esther did and what should become of her.
All right. So what all of that means is that, she showed herself, she presented herself to the king. The king, out of all of the different virgins from all of his different provinces, he preferred her, off of her looks and also off of her mannerisms, and he gave her the best part of the part of his house for women, we'll just say. And it says that she didn't show her people. So in other words, she did not let him know that she was a Jew, and she didn't do that because Mordecai, her cousin / father, told her not to. So she reverences Mordecai, she listens to Mordecai, and she obeys. She respects who he is, and she obeyed what he said. So again, we're getting a taste of how she is, and we see Mordecai walk every day before the court of the women. So he's also checking her out. So we see that Mordecai is an upright man as well, because he's looking out for his daughter, for his Israelite sister. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So we're seeing that they both, even though they're not in that type of relationship, we're seeing reverence and we're seeing love. Okay? Reverence and love. Let's do 13 through 15.
Okay. Then thus came every maiden unto the king. Whatsoever she desired was given her to go with her out of the house of the women unto the king's house. In the evening she went, and on the morrow she returned into the second house of the women to the custody of Shashgaz, the king's chamberlain, which kept the concubines. She came in unto the king no more, except the king delighted in her, and that she were called by name. Now when the turn of Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her for his daughter, was come to go in unto the king, she required nothing but that Haggai, the king's chamberlain, the keeper of the women, appointed, and Esther obtained favor in the sight of all of them that looked upon her.
So unlike all of the other women because again, it's like, hey, you can, hey ladies, y'all can have whatever y'all want, just name it, y'all can have it. Unlike the other women, Esther was like, I don't want anything, just what, I guess whatever you're supposed to give to me, I'll take that. But other than that, I don't want anything else. So in other words, she's not a gold digger, even though again, it was right and lawful for those ladies to have whatever they wanted, because that was what they were permitted. But the fact that she didn't is again showing part of her personality and showing her being humble, is presenting certain things about her. And because of these different personality traits, she obtained favor in the sight of all of them. All right. So again, we're pointing out the value of femininity and how important it is. All right, let's go to 17.
Okay.
Because these things are how she's presenting herself. You can tell that femininity versus what we saw about Vashti. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's do 17.
And the king, excuse me, and the king loved Esther above all the women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins, so that he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti.
18.
Then the king made a great feast unto all his princes and servants, even Esther's feast. And he made a release to the provinces and gave gifts according to the state of the king.
So that dude is happy, man. That dude is happy, and he's having a feast for his new queen, his new queen, Esther. And again, he puts her above all of the other ladies. She's separated herself based on how she's presented herself to him. She presented herself to him. We heard the ladies. One of the ladies in a video said, "Hey, you have to be hired by a man. You have to be hired by a man." That's again the way she says it. Hopefully people understand what she's saying. I know in this culture, it doesn't take much for certain ladies that believe in this agenda to get upset about certain things like that. But you have to understand the essence of where she's coming from. You know what I'm saying? Because you will get the things that you want, because that's what a man wants to do. That's what a good man wants to do. So anyway, we'll do 20 through 23.
Esther had not yet showed her kindred nor her people, as Mordecai had charged her. For Esther did the commandment of Mordecai, like as when she was brought up with him.
Obedient.
In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, two of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were wroth, and sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus. And the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it unto Esther the queen, and Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name. And when inquisition was made of the matter, it was found out. Therefore they were both hanged on a tree, and it was written in the book of the Chronicles before the king.
All right, so it was a couple of dudes that were about to form a coup, and they were about to try to assassinate the king. Mordecai found out about it. He let Esther know about it. Esther went and informed the king or his chamberlains or whatever, and they thwarted it, and they killed the dudes that were about to kill the king. So Mordecai just saved the king's life. He just did a valiant thing and saved the king's life. All right. Because those were trusted people, just like we see in some of these, European tragedies from Rome, trying to kill Caesars and all that type of stuff. You know how that stuff goes. I'm going to go to chapter 3 now. and we're gonna do 1 through 11.
Okay.
A lot of reading tonight.
After these things, did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advance him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him.
Okay.
And
I'm sorry, sis. Just wanted to throw this in here real quick. I apologize for the interruptions. Haman is an Agagite. The Agagites are from King Agag, which was an Amalekite. The Amalekites are of the seed of Esau. So when it's all said and done, Haman is an Edomite. He is of Esau. He's an Edomite. So he just got promoted to a high office under King Ahasuerus after these other dudes, had to get taken out. All right. So we just wanted to establish who Haman is and what his lineage is. Okay, sister.
Verse 2. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence.
Right,
then the king's...
Haman, I'm sorry, sister. I apologize. I'm gonna have to stop because we got to keep on going. but just to clarify, Haman likes to get that shine and that acknowledgement. Mordecai knows what he is and who he is, and he's not about to go out. Mordecai ain't no punk, so he also knows who Esau is and who his descendants are, and he's like, I'm not bowing to that. That's an enemy. He recognizes that that's an enemy. But again, it was not only the king's order that he bowed, but it was also something that Haman, the dude, likes the spotlight. We'll just say. All right, so go ahead, Sister 3. I'm gonna try to slow down on the interruptions.
Then the king's servant, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, Why transgressest thou the king's commandment? Now it came to pass, when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matters would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew.
What you gonna do about this, man? He ain't acknowledging you. That's basically what's going on. That's what's happening. He's a Jew too. That's what's going on. All right, go ahead.
And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath. And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had showed him the people of Mordecai. Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai.
So understand, everybody, again, if you understand the Bible, even though Jacob and Esau were twins, Esau, which is the progenitor of the Edomites, they are a sworn spiritual enemy to Israel. They absolutely hate Israel. It's still going on today. And it's you will never understand it because it's not logical. It's a deep spiritual hatred. It's a deep spiritual hatred. So this dude doesn't like that Mordecai, in his mind, disrespected him. So first he's like, well, look, I'm going to figure out how to take Mordecai out. But he's like, hold up. He's a Jew. I'm going to take all of his people out throughout the entire Medo-Persian kingdom.
That's crazy, man.
It's not logical whatsoever. But again, it's a deep spiritual hatred. They absolutely hate. This is why the Most High is going to take them all out eventually. And you can read about that in the book of Obadiah. But I just wanted to clarify what's going on. You're right. It's ridiculous. But it's a deep spiritual hatred. Go ahead, Sister 7.
In the first month, that is the month Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast pur, that is the lot, before Haman from day to day, and from month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month Adar. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people. Neither keep they the king's laws. Therefore, it is not for the king's profit to suffer them.
So this happens a lot. We see this many times throughout where people of other nations are telling the presiding king that, man, look, these Israelites don't mean you any harm, man. You need to take them out, or else they're going to take you out. They're going to do something. I know they're going to do something. They might seem peaceful, but look, they're going to do something, man. So this has happened over and over many times. You'll see this in many of the books of the prophets, where people are writing this out, where we're trying to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. We got people writing this out, not even writing this out, they're telling lies and stuff like that with this same intention. So we also see they cast Pur or the lot. So this is almost like Haman has wishes or things he can have done. It's almost like, okay, what's your wish today? That's all. If you think of it like a lottery. So this is what do you want out of the lottery today? So Haman is getting this every day, I guess, out of he's new and he's at a higher position. So it comes and so this is a day that he's asking for something for his lot, the lot that was cast for him. So now he's presenting to him saying, hey, King, these people don't mean anything for you. This is what I want for my lot. I want you to take them all out, because they don't mean any good for you. But we know he has we know his motivation is not, they don't have anything to do with the king, about the king, because it's all a lie anyway. But just explaining Pur, because again, Purim, pure. This is where this comes from. A lot, pure. Casting those well wishes or lottery type of situation. All right, 9.
If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business, to bring it into the king's treasures.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the Jews' enemy.
The Jews' enemy. So again, it's very, very clear. The Jews' enemy. All right.
And the king said unto Haman, the silver is given to thee, the people also, to do with them as it seemeth good to thee.
Okay, so we're going to skip to 13. So the king granted what he wanted. We're going to go 13 and 14.
And the letters were sent by post into all the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar, and to take the spoil of them for a prey.
Mm-hmm.
The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, that they should be ready against that day. The post went out.
I'm sorry, sister, go ahead.
The post went out.
No, I'm sorry, sister. My bad. That was it. My fault.
Okay.
That was completely my fault. Yeah, that was it. It was just through 14. So basically what just happened is they just signed a purge law. Kill them all on the 13th. That's going to be the day. Execute throughout the entire kingdom. Execute, destroy all Jews. Execute and destroy all Jews. So what we want to start seeing, if we can, through Esther right now, is it's a deeper story. So we see what's going on the surface, but this is also Yahushua telling us a story. This is also Yahushua using these events to tell us a story. So we're running out of time already. So with this, this is like these are basically like the curses being placed on us. Does that make sense? This is like, we went against the law, statutes, and commandments, and now we're cursed. We're cursed to death. We're cursed to death. Does that make sense? This is like the curses being put on us. So this is what much. So that's what that represents. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. So we're gonna do 4. We're gonna go 3 through 5. This is Esther chapter 4, 3 through 5.
Okay. Verse 3. And in every province, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, there was a great mourning among the Jews, and fasting, and weeping, and wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes.
Mm-hmm.
So Esther's maids and her chamberlains came and told it to her. Then was the queen's exceedingly grieved, and she sent raiment to clothe Mordecai and to take away his sackcloth from him, but he received it not.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, pause.
Then called,
Wait, can we pause, Saka? Does that mean he was probably wearing like fringes and stuff?
Yeah. So basically, so sackcloth is pretty much when something tragic happens or there's a great sadness, then they take off whatever they're actually wearing, and this is like sackcloth is like clothing of mourning.
Like wearing black this day, right?
What'd you say, sister? I'm sorry.
Like when we wear black when we're mourning.
Yeah, we can say that as like an example. Yeah, it's like, you take off because the stuff is going bad. So typically what they'll do is they'll put on sackcloth and then they'll put dust on their head. It's like, oh, you're in despair.
Okay.
It's, it's almost like putting on like a what do they call this thing? A sack? What is it? What's that sack? Burlap. We just call it like a burlap sack. You're taking off your regular clothes, putting on a burlap or some slave clothes, we'll just say, and then you get on your knees and you're throwing dust on your head. You know what I'm saying? It's a terrible situation. Despair. So, all right.
Verse 5.
Okay.
Verse 5. Then called Esther for Hathach, one of the king's chamberlains, whom he had appointed to attend upon her, and gave him a commandment to Mordecai to know what it was and why it was.
All right, do 7 and 8.
And Mordecai told him of all that had happened unto him, and of the sum of the money that Haman had promised to pay to the king's treasures for the Jews to destroy them.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he gave him the copy of the writing of the decree that was given at Shushan to destroy them, to show it unto Esther, and to declare it unto her, and to charge her that she should go in unto the king, to make supplication unto him, and to make requests before him for her people.
So basically what happened is Mordecai is doing some detective work and figuring out what's going on. So he uncovered that really Haman is the one that's behind all of this stuff. And he's promised to pay a bunch of money in order to have all of the Jews killed. So he's uncovering all this stuff and he's developing a plan and he's saying, okay, look, Esther, you gotta weigh in. We need you to go in there and talk to the king, but you got to understand that, it's against the law to do that. Like the wives can't go see the king unless he calls them. You know what I'm saying? So she can't just be popping up in that camp. You know what I'm saying? That's a bad thing to do. It puts her in danger. And again, we know from the beginning how they like order based off of how Vashti was and what their reaction was to what their response was to that. So that's the plan. He charged her or told her to go into the king and make supplication unto him, begging him, asking him to go before her people and to make requests before her people. So to ask him to not kill everybody, to take that whole rule back, that law that he's established back. All right, we're going to do 11, then we're going to skip to 13 and 14.
Okay. All the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come in unto the king into the inner court, who is not called, there is one law of his to put him to death, except such to whom the king shall hold out the golden scepter, that he may live. But I have not been called to come in unto the king these 30 days.
So she's like, look, man, you trying to get me killed? That's what all of that means. If I go in there, he's going to kill me, man. I have to wait till he calls me. And all that type of stuff. Sorry, 13 and 14.
Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house more than all the Jews.
Mm-hmm.
For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place. but thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed. And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this?
So kind, and that's a famous little phrase, for such a time as this, that you'll hear a lot. For such a time as this. I did this for, maybe this is before such a time as this. That's where it comes from, because this is Sister Esther she's a mighty, mighty sister. She's a very brave sister, and she has the burden of the entire house of the Jews, the kingdom of Judah, on her back right now, off of what Mordecai, her cousin / father, has asked her to do. So you talking about bravery, you know what I'm saying? She's risking her life. So he's saying, look, I need you to do this. Look, if you don't think that you're safe, if you don't do it, I know you're scared of being killed, but don't think you're safe. Look, if you don't do it, they're going to kill all of them, and don't think they're not going to come back and kill you too. There's going to be the end of you and your father's house and everything. Look, you don't know if this is the reason why the Most High probably put you in this position for such a time as this. That's what all of that means. All right, let's go 16 and 17. Sis, you still there?
Sorry, I had a moment. Okay. Go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise, and so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law, and if I perish, I perish.
9:17.
So Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther had commanded him.
All right, cool. So we got to see the big picture with all of these different things. Like I said, there's another story being weaved right now that we have to be able to see. So we talked about the sackcloth and renting their clothes and everything, or ripping their clothes, putting ashes on their hair. That's the dust on their hair, like we were talking about. And there's a cry with a loud and bitter cry. They cry with a loud and bitter cry. So think about this in a big scheme of things. This is a huge death threat. This symbolizes Jacob's trouble. This symbolizes Jacob's trouble. This is it's extremely tight situation on all of the kingdom of Judah. That's in this entire captivity. So they're forced to have a great crying out. And remember, in the time of when we were in Egypt, Yah didn't activate until we started crying out as a group, and we didn't cry out until there was pressure that was put on us. Same thing is going to happen again. There's going to be a bunch of pressure that's put on us that's going to force us to cry out to our Father again. So this is symbolizing Jacob's trouble. So if think about it. So SHTF, when the ish hits the fan, all of that feminism goes away. All of that feminism stuff goes away, because the women will gladly get back to their typical gender roles, because they want the men to protect them. They want the protection, and plus they would rather do the gender roles than to have to go through the burden of what the men are going to have to do in that situation. So again, all of this feminism stuff, it's all an agenda. When stuff gets tough, the lady's gonna get humble with it. That's naturally what's going to happen. And that's not a bad thing. So that's actually a good thing. Not the stuff that's happening, but those gender roles are actually a good thing. They should be that way. So there's a great crying out that's necessary and is forced. And then they're going into a fast. They're going to a fast. So now what we're beginning to see is the feast days being symbolized here. So that fast is the Day of Atonement. That fast is a Day of Atonement. You're going back and you're seeking the Father, to help you, to save you, and to forgive you for the things that you've done against him. And she also asked, for a fast of 3 days and 3 nights. What are some of the things that happened over 3 days and 3 nights in the scriptures? 3 days and 3 nights.
People come back alive.
Yeah, what's one of the main people that came back alive?
Christ, y'all shy.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And so, and how do we know that there's that there's some kind of a resemblance to this is because she was facing death. She was facing death going in there. So it's almost like she's walking in. What's that psalm? Walking in the valley, the valley of the shadow of death.
Yeah, I believe so.
23rd.
Yeah. So this is what she's walking into right now. So she needs that protection. So again, fasting and prayer is almost like a shortcut. It's not a great word to use, but it's a shortcut for connection to help the Most High hear your prayers, quicker, more seriously. We'll just say because you're sacrificing something, for that right, for that honor, for that connection. So fasting is that Day of Atonement. That's a feast they were commanded to do. The 3 days and 3 nights. That's representing sacrifice for her people, because she's doing something unlawful that can get her killed. She's sacrificing for her whole nation, for the Jews, right? Just like Yahushua did. So we're seeing that what we're with this story is so far what we're seeing is that it's detailing the plan of redemption. Do we see how these things are being played out little by little? And if we understand the feast days actually mean that, which we've gone over some of them, before, and we can see how they're symbolizing different steps of the salvation plan of the Israelites. So this whole story of Esther is detailing that. That's the little secret that hopefully y'all can see. I didn't see it before, to be honest with you. So we're going to go to Esther chapter 4 right now. We're going to do 5 through 9. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Do you need
chapter 4?
Yeah, we're going to do. We're moving to chapter 5. And do you need a break? Still good?
No, I could go. We on chapter 5 because we just did chapter 4.
Yeah, we're going to do chapter 5.
Okay, I'm confused.
I'm sorry, sister.
Okay.
We're doing 5. We're going to do 1 through 9. You still good to read, or you need a little break?
I'm good until somebody stop me.
Okay.
1 through 9. Okay.
Did anybody else want to volunteer real quick?
I'll read in if you know.
All right, sister. We'll give you a little water break, and
all right,
we're gonna be calling on you soon. All right, Judah. We're gonna do Esther 5, 1 through 9. Esther 5, 1 through 9.
Now it came to pass on the 3rd day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house, over against the king's house. And the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house, over against the gate of the house.
All right, Pete, what's going on right now? Esther put on her royal apparel. So remember, she was getting prepped up. They were doing the sackcloth thing and the sackcloth and ashes thing. She's terrified because she has to go on a mission of bravery right now. But what is she doing? Remember the first video we played? We played this terrible woman, a horrible woman. You can't trust her with nothing, as the brother found out in the video. But then in the second video, we saw the benefits of a feminine woman, the femininity. The femininity was winning over the men. What did we see with Esther when she came into and presented herself to the king? Her femininity, her personality, her ways won over the king. What is she doing again? She put on her royal apparel. She's about to use her femininity to win over the king. Y'all understand this? So in other words, is it more productive for a woman to go to a man and start fussing at him? You're not doing this, blah, 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 all of this type stuff? Or is it more productive for, like we heard the woman saying, look, I don't correct my man. I suggest things to him. I support him, but I let him make these corrections himself, but she's there and she does it in her own way. So don't think that she's having no impact. All men know that women have an impact on you, but it's the way that a woman presents herself to you. It's the way, it's the skillfulness in how a woman communicates with the man that helps the man out. That helps the man out. That's the way to love a man. Or respect a man, because when you're coming at him in the Vashti style, that's disrespectful. That's going to shut a man off completely. So she understands this. She knows about the Vashti situation. She saw what's helped her out so far, and on top of that, this is something that's been natural to her because she's been brought up the right way, and she's a daughter of the Most High. So anyway, so she's using her femininity. So go ahead, brother. 2 through 9.
And it was so when the king saw Esther, the queen, standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight, and the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter.
She won him over. She didn't get killed. She got past it. Not only did he not kill her, he invited her over because, she obtained favor in his sight. She's very respectful. She didn't go charging up to him. You know what I'm saying? She presented herself and waited for him to call her over. And that was even dangerous because she wasn't supposed to be in the court, but she did it in a feminine way. And she allowed him to make the decision to call her over. So are we seeing this? Femininity versus feminism. Okay? All right, go ahead, brother.
Then said the king unto her, What wilt thou, Queen Esther, and what is thy request? It shall be given thee to the half of the kingdom.
He's one to give her stuff. He's not offended at all. He loves that femininity, masculinity and femininity. We're made to be with each other. We're not made to be at odds with each other. The agenda has put us at odds with each other. What other people group, male and females, are at odds with each other? Which ones?
It's like say it again.
Which of the different races we'll say, which men and women are against each other of the same race?
Us.
Who else? Who else? It's nobody else.
Nah. No
Everybody else might have their gripes and stuff like that, but they're not. It's not the white ladies are not focused on the ills of white men. They might just say men, but they're not focusing on white men. But what do the black men say? And what do the black women say? Black men that don't do blah blah blah. Black fathers.
That was a loaded question.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But what I'm saying is that there's an agenda. Do we understand this?
Yeah,
there's an agenda that's targeting us. There's an agenda that's targeting us. We're not supposed to be at odds with each other. We're supposed to be together. The feminism, exactly. So the way that the feminism arms, it tells the ladies a particular, and everybody's been touched. I'm not saying that the ladies haven't been hurt at all. I'm not saying that. Because the men have not been angels at all. We're both jacked up. However, we're both falling into this stuff has been happening for a long time, for hundreds and hundreds of years. These agendas have existed, and they still have. And they still do. So anyway, we have to re-educate ourselves and come out of this stuff. So that's why we're focusing on. We're seeing the value of femininity over feminism. Femininity brings us together. It unites us.
To begin with Adam and Eve.
Absolutely. And even in that situation, again, that's the one flesh. He called them Adam. That's what it says. Adam himself named Eve after they got out of the garden. You know what I'm saying? They were one flesh. So anyway, sorry, brother, I lost myself again. Wherever they are. Yeah.
And Esther answered, If it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I have prepared for him.
So not only is she a dime piece, Esther's a dime, man. She's a beast in the face. You know what I'm saying? Brick house. You know what I'm saying? Esther's the bomb. But not only is she that, she's mannered very well. She's very feminine and she's intelligent. You hear this? She's strategizing. She's using her femininity. This is how our ladies are warriors. But the thing is that right now, the agenda is to make our ladies selfish and focused on themselves. But the way that the Most High has it is for both the men and the women to be focused on the nation. If you look at this situation right now, Mordecai was focused on the nation, and Esther, what she's doing right now is focused on the entire nation, the entire family, everything together. Okay? It's the opposite of feminism. All right, go ahead, brother. So just highlight that she's intelligent. It's not just a looks thing. It's not just a fem. She's that Proverbs 31 woman that we all like so much. She's the complete package.
Then the king said, "Cause Haman to make haste, that he may do as Esther had said." So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And the king said unto Esther at the banquet of wine, "What is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? Even to the half of the kingdom it shall be performed."
Mm-hmm.
Then Esther answered and said, "My petition and my request is, if I have found favor in the sight of the king, and if it please the king to grant my petition and to perform my request, let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I shall prepare for them, and I will do tomorrow as the king have said."
Now look at how she's presenting all of this. If I have found, not get me this, get me that, you ain't nothing, blah, blah, blah. Look, if you actually like me, you would do this and blah. No, if I have found favor in your sight, in the sight of the king. So not only she's not just saying your sight, she's putting his title up there. So that's really elevating them and giving a reference. If I found favor in the sight of the king, if it pleases the king to grant me my petition and to perform my request, let the king. So, and I shall perform for them. I will do tomorrow as the king hath said. There's a submission. There's a great femininity and there's a great submission. So that's why you keep on saying. That's why you keep on seeing the king saying, "Hey, what is your petition? Hey, look, what do you want? I'll grant it, even up to the half of the kingdom. What can I do for you?" He wants to do things for him. Femininity makes the man want to do for the woman. Feminism makes the man want to run away and kill himself. Femininity makes the man want to do more for him, for himself, makes him want to do more for the family, makes him want to do more for the woman. Is very, very motivating. And it's this, that's the design. That's the design. So again, it's working on the king right here. Where were we, brother? We're at 9. Yeah, we're at 9.
Okay. Then Haman Then went Haman forth that day joyful and with a glad heart. But when Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate, that he stood not up, nor moved for him, he was full of indignation against Mordecai.
But that dude is not like Mordecai whatsoever, man. It's like, hold up, this dude ain't going to stand up and bow to me. Hold up, man. Like I said, Haman likes some shine. He likes that shine and reverence. He likes to shine and reverence. Let's do 11. We'll do 11 through 14 actually.
And Haman told them of the glory of his riches and the multitude of his children and all the things wherein the king had promoted him, and how he had advanced him above the princes and the servants of the king.
Mm-hmm. Look at me. Look, y'all see what I did? Y'all see what I got? Look what the king did for me, man. That's how important I am. That's Haman's game. Haman, how you pronounce? That's his game. He's all about getting that glory. You know what I'm saying?
Pride.
A lot of pride. And what do we know about the enemy? Pride. What do we know about? Well, we'll get to some other stuff. All right, go ahead, brother.
Haman said, moreover, yea, Esther the queen did not let no man come in with the king unto the banquet that she had prepared but myself. And tomorrow I am invited unto her also with the king.
I'm special, man. It's gonna be me. She only invited me, man. It's just gonna be me and the king and her. I'm special. All right, go ahead.
Yet all this availeth me nothing, so long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate. Wow.
Man, as long as this stuff is happening, I love all this stuff. Y'all see how important I am, but I don't like that this dude is still alive. I don't like that he's still alive. He's burning with indignation, just like Esau did against Jacob, the actual Esau and the actual Jacob. You know, it goes through the entire seed line. Same feelings.
He said, availeth me to nothing. So like, even though he was going to get all of this, it still doesn't surpass that as long as that guy's still alive. That's crazy.
That don't mean nothing to me if this dude is alive.
Wow.
If he's still alive. Yeah, man. Now let's read 14.
Then said Jeresh his wife and all his friends unto him, Let a gallows be made of 50 cubits high, and tomorrow speak thou unto the king that Mordecai may be changed thereon. Then go thou in merrily with the king unto the banquet. And the thing pleased Haman, and he caused the gallows to be made.
So those are some chopping blocks. You know them joints where I think those where gallows are, where you get your head chopped off. So he's still planning on. Well, at this point, the plan is still to kill all of the Jews, because that's his plan. So he's trying to even make it sweet. He's like, look, I want Mordecai to die like right in front of my house, man. You know, let's get these gallows built right in front of my house. I want to look at him get killed. You know what I'm saying? This is what he's thinking about. And his wife and all of his friends are telling him to do these different things. His wife and all of his friends. All right. So let's look for chapter 5. Let's look undercover a little bit. So we saw in the beginning, Esther's putting on, she's classing herself up a little bit. She's putting on her royal garments. We could look at this as when we're in the New Testament anyway, where we're supposed to, where's that? I forgot where that is, where we're supposed to put on the whole armor of the Most High. You know, put on the shield of righteousness. I'm going to mess all of that stuff up. But the shield of this, the breastplate of that, you know what I'm saying? So it's almost like she's putting on her holy garments. She's putting on trust right now. If we look down at that last thing we were reading, Zeresh, that's Haman's wife, and all of his friends, that's like all of the other nations being confederate against Israel. Esau and all of his friends. That's like all of the nations being confederate, planning Israel's demise.
Yeah, Psalms 83.
Absolutely. And then it's also, I don't know if we quite got there yet, but we're seeing these different nations conspiring against Israel. Because remember, this is not just in Shushan. This is in all of the 127 provinces that they're getting ready for the purge of all the Jews. This is across all of this land, 127 kingdoms or provinces that they're getting ready. They're sharpening their knives to exterminate the Jews. You know what I'm saying? So this is almost like the other nations, because all these different provinces are other nations. You know, all these different Gentile nations. So it's almost like the Valley of Jehoshaphat, where all of these different nations are getting together for this war of Armageddon, so they can take us out. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, we see that Esther is planning a banquet. So this is like that other song where you're preparing a table for me in the midst of my enemies. So it's a lot of different prophecies that are being played out at the same time with this story. It's a lot deeper than it's already tough enough with the actual story, but it's even some things going on in the background that are very prophetic. All right. We're going to go to chapter 6 now. Chapter 6. We're going to do 1 through 4.
On that night could not the king sleep, and he commanded to bring the books of the record of the chronicles, and they were read before the king. And it was found written that Mordecai had told of Bigthana and Teresh, 2 of the king's chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hand on the king of Ahasuerus. And the king said, What honor and dignity have been done to Mordecai for this? Then said the king's servant that ministered unto him, There is nothing done for him. And the king said, Who is in the court? Now Haman was come in the outward court of the king's house to speak unto the king to hang Mordecai on the gallows that he had prepared for him.
All right, so this has to be the work of the Most High. He
has to be.
Ahasuerus can't even sleep, to the point where he's like, let me look in the kingdom's record books, and he found out what Mordecai did for him, that it was actually him that saved him. He was like, hold on, that was a very valiant thing. Has he gotten any kind of reward? This is in the middle of the night. This is in the middle of the night. You know what I'm saying? That this is happening to him. Has he got any kind of reward? So he's like, I gotta do something for this guy. He saved my life. And then of course the next day we got Haman still thinking about that indignation that he has. He's like, man, let me go knock on his door. I want to get special permission to hang him, to hang Mordecai. He is upset. All right, let's skip down to 7. We'll do 7 through 14. We'll carry out the rest of the chapter.
And
7 to 14.
And Haman answered the king, for the man whom the king delighted to honor. Let the royal apparel be brought which the king useth to wear, and the horse that the king rideth upon, and a crown royal which is set upon his head.
Oh, let me explain this real quick. So the king is still thinking about, what can I do for Mordecai that did this honorable thing? What can I do for him? But see, Haman is still thinking that he's the one that's going to be honored for all this type of stuff. He's thinking that when he's thinking that the king is actually asking, what can I do for you, Haman? Because you're being honored right now. That's what's in Haman's head, Haman's head, you know. But really what the king is asking is, what can I do for Mordecai? So look at all of this stuff that that Haman is asking for. Let the royal apparel be. And this is stuff that he wants for himself. Oh, king, it's my turn now. I can get whatever I want. Let the royal apparel be brought by which the king useth. The king, he wants the king's apparel. Let the royal apparel that the king useth to wear, and the horse that the king rideth upon, and the crown royal which is set upon his head. He is telling the king, give me your stuff. This dude is crazy. This dude is crazy. All right, but go ahead. What was we're at 8 and 9?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And let this apparel and horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble princesses, that they may array the man withal whom the king delighteth to honor, and bring him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaim before him, thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor.
Mm-hmm.
Then the king said to Haman, make haste and take the apparel and the horse as thou hast said, and do even so to Mordecai the Jew that sitteth at the king's gate. Let nothing fail of all that thou hast spoken. That's I couldn't even read that straight.
If people don't think that the Most High has a sense of humor, right? he just made Haman bless Mordecai. He just made, because these are the wishes that Haman said that he really wanted for himself, but he just made him bless Mordecai. You know what I'm saying? that's hallelujah. So obviously Haman is torched inside. He is fuming. All right, go ahead, 11.
Then took Haman the apparel and the horse and arrayed Mordecai. Wow, so he even had to dress him up. That's I would have been mad. I ain't gonna lie. I would have been mad.
Absolutely. But we're gonna look at the prophetic meaning of this. But go ahead. Absolutely.
And brought him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaimed before him, thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor.
Mm.
And Mordecai came again to the king's gate, but Haman hasted to his house mourning and having his head covered.
Mm-hmm.
And
so now he's the one, instead of all of the Jews that were in mourning and upset. Now he's covering his head. He's doing like a sackcloth type situation because he's so upset. Well, go ahead.
And Haman told Zeresh his wife and all his friends everything that had befallen him. Then said his wise men and Zeresh his wife unto him, if Mordecai be of the seed of the Jews, before whom thou hast begun to fall, thou shalt not prevail against him, but thou shalt surely fall before him.
Boy, now
wow.
His wife is turning on him now. She's like, look, if this is what's going on, and if he's of the seed of, so again, this is like prophecy. This is similar to in the New Testament where I forgot which high priest that was, but when the high priest that was actually not really for Christ, but when he started prophesying that what if he has to die for the whole nation, because they were conspiring against him. But then all of a sudden, because he was the high priest, a prophecy came to him, and he started, spitting out that prophecy. So this is almost like that same thing that's going on with Zeresh, where she's saying that basically, look, you're doomed. You're messing with the Jews, dog. You about to, sorry. That's what she's pretty much saying. All right, go ahead to the 14.
And while they were yet talking with him, came the king's chamberlains and hasted to bring Haman unto the banquet that Esther had prepared.
So he don't even have time to think. He's like, well, my wife just said this to me, and then all of a sudden get a knock on the door. Hey man, it's time to go back to it's time to go to this banquet. You don't know what's going on. So let's think about this. Again, from a prophetic perspective, we coming out of Jacob's trouble. Remember all the mourning and the fasting and stuff like that. We remember the danger that we're in right now, and we're in an unpredictable situation. We don't know what's going on. Esther does her thing. She amazes the king. The king grants her, whatever she wants. So she's beginning to work her plan because she's not only beautiful and well-mannered and very feminine, but she's extremely intelligent as well. Very intelligent, calculating, and very brave. She's a very honorable person. The Most High loves his daughters, man, and empowers them as well. That's happened multiple times. But what we've seen is that Yah's timing is always perfect. Yah drove the king to not be able to sleep and be so uncomfortable, and to grant and to turn and grant Mordecai all of these, and Yah orchestrated Haman, inadvertently blessing Mordecai. So what we see is that, all right, so remember Esau was upset because Jacob stole the blessing from his perspective. So what he's been seeking to do is to recapture these promises and throw us and keep us under the dirt all of this time. He's been turning our promises and trying to take our promises for his own. So what we see right now is happening is that he's still, Haman is going for the promises. Remember, the king is, what should I do? The king is offering promises, and Haman is trying to get those promises, right? Esau is trying to get those promises. But what does the king do? He says, no, those promises aren't for you. Those promises are for Mordecai. Those promises are for Jacob. So this is those curses being turned around. This is Jacob getting back into position, taking position, because remember, Haman is in a higher position than Mordecai is. So this is Jacob's position. He's taking back his position from Esau. This is what's going on prophetically, because again, this is a deeper thing. This is what's going on prophetically. So this is what's going on. And also, let me see, I don't know if we're quite there yet, but what's going on is that we're also seeing that that Esau is becoming Jacob's servant for a time, because he's having to go and present these different things to Mordecai. So Haman is having to present these different gifts and stuff to Mordecai. He's having to bow himself down to Mordecai, whereas he was upset because Mordecai wasn't bowing down to him. The elder will serve the younger. The elder will serve the older, will serve the younger. So are we seeing how prophetically this is really the salvation plan? This is what Yahweh Shah is communicating to us through this whole book of Esther.
Wasn't there like a script where a servant was on the horseback and the prince was walking, but the scripture was saying that it was meant to be the other way? Something like that?
I'm sure it is. It's not coming to mind right now. I'm not saying it's not there. Is that a problem?
No, it's definitely there, and it's there. I don't know where it is, but it talks about, I've seen kings walking as servants and servants upon horses. I know what you're talking about, man. Yeah. I think that might be in Proverbs, man. Either Proverbs or Psalms, one or the other.
Hallelujah. He's turning the fortunes though. So that was a good. Wish I knew which one you were talking about, brother, so I can back it up because I'm sure it's right on point. We're going to do chapter 7 now. We're going to do 1 through 10. That's the whole chapter. 7, 1 through 10.
So the king and Haman came to the banquet with Esther, the queen, and the king sent unto Esther on the 2nd day at the banquet of wine, What is thy petition, Queen Esther? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? And it shall be performed, even to the half of the kingdom.
She's still having favor. Esther's the bomb. And of course, the Most High is behind all this stuff, but she is the bomb, and she's still winning that king over, man. Look, I'll do anything for you. It's the power of femininity. Go ahead.
Then Esther the queen answered and said, If I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition and my people at my request.
So this is her asking him to look, don't kill me or my people. And you saw she's still doing it very humbly, very submissively. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what else she says.
For we are sold, and I and my people to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I have held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage.
God. So look, if it was just that we were going to be, in bondage or in slavery, I wouldn't have even said anything. But they're about to kill us all, So can you please do something? So she's still saying everything very humbly and very submissively. All right, go ahead.
Then King Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther, the queen, who is he, and where is he, and that doest presume in his heart to do so?
Who did this? Who did this to my bun? That's what he's saying. It's like, hold up, man. What's going on here? All right, let's go to 6.
Oh, durst, as in darest presume in his heart to do so. Okay, but he said, who dares? Wow, that's he's in trouble.
Because remember, it was actually Haman that convinced him, but he didn't know what all was going down. But Haman actually convinced the king to pass his rule. But go ahead with 6.
And Esther said, the adversary and enemy is the wicked Haman. Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen.
So get this. Again, she calls Haman the adversary and the enemy. What is Esau and what is the devil called throughout the scriptures? Hasatan and Esau, the adversary and the enemy. So this is representing. So Haman is representing the adversary and the enemy. All right. So go ahead. Haman was afraid before the king and the queen. All right, 7.
And the king, arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath, went into the palace garden, and Haman stood up to make requests for his life to Esther the queen, for he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king.
So the king is PO'd. So he got to go outside and take a walk because somebody's threatening his lady, man. And again, that's his favorite. That's his new wife, his favorite. That's his queen. So he's hot. He's heated. So you know what I'm saying. So he had to step out for a second. So of course, Haman takes the occasion to be like, "Hey, please." You know what I'm saying? Esther, I'm so sorry. Look, don't do this. Please help me. You know what I'm saying? So that's what Haman is doing right now. You know what I'm saying? That's what's going on. He's begging Esther for his life. He's begging. Esau is begging Jacob for his life. Esau is begging Jacob for his life. All right. So let's watch this. Let's go to 8.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is. That's right, sister. Absolutely.
Then the king returned out of the palace garden into the place of the banquet of wine, and Haman was fallen upon the bed wherein Esther was. Then said the king, will he force the queen also before me in the house? As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face.
Now, do y'all understand what just happened? So look, the king walked out. He's furious. He walked out. When he came back in, Haman is begging so much that he's falling on Esther's bed. So he's like, hold up, is he about to try to rape my wife? Is he about to try to rape my? That's what forced the queen before me. Is he gonna try to rape my wife and my queen in front of me in my house? Instantly, they covered up Haman's face. They nabbed that dude and took him up out of there. So again, in other words, we're looking at. Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. Go ahead. Let me see. So yeah, go ahead. Go ahead to 9. But do y'all get that? Do y'all get what the Haman is just digging? He just took that. He just shoveled himself like 6 more feet underground. All right, go ahead with 9.
And Habana, one of the chamberlains, said before the king, behold, also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman has made for Mordecai, who had spoken good for the king, standeth in the house of Haman. Then the king said, hang him thereon. Wow.
So, Tim?
So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified.
Wow. So they put a bag over that dude's head and carried him out of it. Then one of the king's servants was like, hey, king, hey, don't forget them gallows that he had out there. Let's hang him on him. Let's hang him on his own joints. You know what I'm saying? And so this is what the king did. So in other words, there's no escape. The book of Obadiah, there's no escape for Esau. There's no escape for Esau. Though he begged with tears, going back to actual Esau and actual Jacob, when Esau found out that his father gave the blessings to Jacob, though he petitioned with tears, he couldn't take it back. So the same situation right now. Regardless of whatever he says and whatever he does, Esau's doomed. It ain't happening. It's already prophesied. So we're seeing that Esau, the enemy, is snared in his own trap. He got snared in his own trap. The blessings that he wanted to give for himself selfishly, because again, like you said, that pride. He's trying to get all of the king stuff. So he's trying to put himself up on a mountain. I forgot what that. Though you
exalt yourself as an eagle.
Yes. Yeah, yes. Yeah. And something again. Something with the stars. I forgot what the. It's like elevate yourself with. I forgot what.
I think.
Forgot what the daggone.
Do I get it? Do I get it or no?
No. You talking what I'm talking about? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Exalt yourself amongst the stars. I mean, that's what it is.
I think that's it.
So we see that again now, and that's Esau. We saw that's what Esau was trying to do, because he's trying to take the king's garments, the king's horse, the king's crown, all these different things. And what did the king do? He turned that over to Jacob. That's who the Most High means to have these different things. So he snared him in his own trap, literally with the gallows. Now and again, we saw that the king saw that Haman was in his mind. Is this dude about to try to grape the apple of my eye? Remember, Israel is the apple of Yahweh's eye. Remember, he's a king, and remember, he's a jealous El. He's a jealous Elohim, and so. This is again symbolizing all of these different things that Esau has done to his wife. Israel is Yahweh's wife. Israel is the king's wife. Israel is the queen. So this is again showing prophecy that the enemy, the enemy is it's going to be a bad day. It's going to be a bad day. So all of this stuff is prophetic. Does that make sense?
Okay.
All right, so let's go to 8. I know we're like way over time right now. Let's go to 8. We'll do 8, 1 through 13.
On that day did the king Ahasuerus
of
the house of Haman, the Jews' enemy, unto Esther the queen, and Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was unto her.
Mm-hmm.
And the king took off his ring which he had taken from Haman and gave it unto Mordecai, and Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman.
Mm-hmm.
So he got his crib too?
Everything was turned over. Everything has been usurped. So again, it's just like Israel has a rightful place, and because of our sins, again, just like we saw earlier, those curses, when they say, well, let's kill all of the Jews in the land. That's the same thing as the curses. It's the same thing as us spiritually being dead. You know what I'm saying? Everything that was supposed to be yours was turned over. Everything was flipped upside down. So Esau and these other nations got what was rightfully ours. So now, remember us being saved from our enemies is everything is being flipped right, returned to the order of what the Most High originally designated. So this is what's happening, right? This is what we're seeing in these two verses right here. Everything is being righted. She let the king know that I'm a Jew. My people are Jews. You know what I'm saying? So everything is being corrected now. So absolutely right. Go ahead.
And Esther spake yet again before the king, and fell down at his feet, and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman the Agagite, and his device that he had devised against the Jews.
So again, she's being very submissive. She fell down at the feet of the king, and he's saying, "Okay, Haman, we got Haman out the way, but don't forget about all of my people all over the land. Can you reverse that whole thing? Can you send out another, edict or whatever to stop this thing that's about to happen? Because the other nations don't know that you just had Haman killed, but they're still set up to kill all of my family in the next couple of days." All right, go ahead.
Then the king held out the golden scepter toward Esther. So Esther arose and stood before the king, and said, "If it please the king, and I have found favor in his sight, and the thing seem right before the king, and I be pleasing in his eyes, let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman the son of Hammedath the Agagite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews which are in all the king's provinces. For how can I endure to see the evil that shall come unto my people, or how am I to endure to see the destruction of my kindred?"
So she presented herself to him, and again, very pleasantly, very submissively. Femininity wins the day. Femininity is a superpower, ladies. Just don't, unfortunately, these days is being used for seduction and all kinds of other wickedness. But understand, it is a key. You guys are powerful, man, but if it's used properly, just like men are powerful, but we can use it very destructively. So we just have to harness what the Most High has given us innately and use those things together to support each other. So no stopping us. All right, go ahead, brother.
Then the king Ahasuerus said unto Esther the queen and to Mordecai the Jew, Behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and him they have hanged upon the gallows, because he has laid his hand upon the Jews. Write ye also for the Jews as it liketh you in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring, for the writing which is written in the king's name and sealed with the king's ring may no man reverse.
Mm-hmm. So that's just like the wedding. What's that daggone? I should have gotten that verse. It's just coming to my head now, but it's like no one can disannul. No one can disannul a marriage. I can't think of that verse. Let no man. I forgot the daggone scripture. But basically, it's a scripture that's saying, "Let no man can undo what the Most High just did. Let no man undo." I can't think of that.
Oh, and I think he says there's another one where it talks about his hand. No one can take or something out of the Father's hand. If that makes sense.
That's a great one too. Yes, that's a great one too.
Yeah. Okay. I see where you're going.
Same thing repeated over and over and over again. Same thing repeated over and over again. That's a good one, bro. Go ahead.
Verse 9. Then were the king's scribes called at the time in the 3rd month, that is the month Sivan or Sivan, on the 3 and 20th day thereof, and it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded unto the Jews, and to the lieutenants and the deputies and the rulers of the provinces which are from India unto Ethiopia, 127 provinces, unto every province according to the writing thereof, and unto every people after their language, and to the Jews according to their writing, and according to their language. And he wrote in the king Cyrus's name, and sealed it with the king's ring, and sent it letters by post on horseback, and riders on mules and camel, and young dromedaries. Yeah. Yeah, that word.
All right, 11.
Wherein the king granted the Jews, which were in every city, to gather themselves together, and to stand for their life, to destroy, to slay, and to cause us to perish, all the power of the people and the province that would assault them, both little ones and women, and to take the spoil of them for a prey.
All right, man. I don't know if y'all peep what just happened. So he's not only reversing everything, meaning that he's reversing the commandment that the enemies kill Israel. He's reversing all that. So he's saving them from their enemies. He's saving us from our enemies. Salvation plan, saving us from our enemies. And not only that, where it says, wherein the king granted the Jews which were in every city to gather themselves together. Remember, we're going to be gathered from the four corners, right? Four corners of the world. And to stand for their life, to destroy, to slay, and to cause to perish all the power of the people in the province that would have assaulted them. So both little ones and women, and to take the spoil of them for a prey. So now this is him using Israel as the battle axes of war.
He took it out of my mouth. I was going to say that.
My bad, bro. Let's too late. It's too late. I tried to give it to you, man.
So good. So good.
So this is a holy war. So again, this is when, just like in the very beginning, when he gave us the promised land and he empowered us to go and conquer all of these different nations, you see this happening right here in these 127 provinces, where he's reversing and he's saying, hey, y'all were supposed to be getting killed. Let's turn it around, and now y'all going to be the ones that do the punishing and do the killing. He's turning everything. He's reversing the fortunes of Israel. He's correcting everything and returning it to the correct order. Symbolically, prophetically, that's what's going on right now. All right, brother, I don't know where we were.
12.
Okay.
Upon one day, in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus, namely upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar, the copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, and that the Jews should be ready against that day to avenge themselves on their enemies. So the posts that rode upon mules and camels went out, being hastened and pressed on by the king's commandment, and the decree was given at Shushan the palace. And Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in the royal apparel of blue and white, and with a great crown of gold, and with a garment of fine linen and purple, and the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad. The Jews had light and gladness and joy and honor. Wow. And in every province and in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness and feast and a good day, and many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them.
All right, so again, all prophetic. So we're seeing a lot of prophecy in this whole thing. So of course, everything was reversed, like we were saying. The people are now returned to a higher echelon within that entire kingdom. The whole people group, as opposed to being the mud on the floor in terms of the way that people treat the Israelites today and like they have been for a long time. All of this stuff is going to be reversed. We could look at some of the language here, and we can see how Mordecai and the things that he have on is almost like symbolizing Yahushai. Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal apparel of blue and white, with a great crown of gold and a garment of fine linen and purple. Purple is, royalty. So again, this is almost symbolizing Yahushua coming back on that white horse. If y'all are getting, the symbolism here. The Jews had light. Who is light? That's Yahushua. And gladness and joy and honor. This is all because of the victory and because they've been saved from their enemies. And then right here you see how the Gentiles, that the non-Israelite Gentiles are trying to come. What's that word?
Sojourn, maybe.
Yes, basically the strangers. They're trying to cleave on to the Israelites now. Those are the ones that are going to try to cleave onto the Israelites. They don't become Israelites, as we all know, but they're trying to cleave onto the Israelites because they are afraid, for one thing. So this is what this says. And again, these are all things that are going to be happening prophetically. All right. Is it too late for everybody? I know it's we like way past time right now. What do y'all say? Should we finish this up another time? Well, anyway, I guess just to sum, you guys have the majority of it. I want you guys to read the rest of Esther. It's only 10 chapters. However, there are the addition. Sister Nadia reminded me that there are the additions to Esther in the Apocrypha, which is basically the rest of chapter 10 through 16. The regular KJV just has chapters 1 through 10, but it's only like 4 verses in 10 or something like that. But anyway, let me see just where it gets to Purim real quick, because this is the holy day this is about. So basically, the Purim is celebrating this whole victory. So that's why Purim is very important, because it's celebrating this entire victory, and it's because of this whole defeat through Esther, the mighty woman of Israel, that this holy day or this feast day was proclaimed and is celebrated through the generations of Israel. Let me see. Okay, so let's just read. This is 9 and 18. We'll read on just a little bit, just to get Purim in there.
But the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and on the 14th day thereof. On the 15th day of the same, they rested and made it a day of feasting and gladness.
Feast day. Mm-hmm.
Therefore the Jews of the villages that dwelt in the unwalled towns made the 14th day of the month of Adar a day of gladness and feasting, and a good day, and of sending portions one to another.
So this is one of the things that is done on Purim. You're blessing one another with different gifts and stuff like that. You're showing joy. You're feasting together. This is some of the things that you do on Purim. All right, 20.
And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus, both nigh and far, so both close and far, to establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar and the 15th day of the same yearly.
So there's Purim being put in place. Go ahead.
As his days wherein the Jews were rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning unto a good day, that they should make days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another, and gifts to the poor.
And gifts to the poor. So that's also another thing. So, feeding the poor, doing whatever you can just for the poor is also something that is typically done on Purim. And again, the Jews rested from their enemies. That's salvation. That's saving from my enemies. So again, this whole thing is prophecy being played out through the lives, just like he does that through the prophets and the things he tells the prophets to do. He does this through many people's lives and through the different tales in the word as well. It's the same thing over and over again. He is not forgotten. Go ahead, brother. 23.
And the Jews undertook to do as they had begun, and as Mordecai had written unto them. Because Haman the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, the enemy of all the Jews, had devised against the Jews to destroy them, and had cast Pur, that is, the lot, to consume them and to destroy them. But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by the letters that his wicked device which he had devised against the Jews should return upon his own head, and that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows.
That's right. Return on your own head. That's righteous recompense. Righteous recompense. There will be a recompense. We all know that. So this is a whole big payback. The big payback. So go ahead with this one. 26.
Wherefore they called these days Purim after the name of Pur. Therefore, for all the words of this letter and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them, the Jews ordained and took upon them and upon their seed and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fail, that they would keep these 2 days according to their writing and according to their appointed time every year.
So Purim, and again, it got named after Pur, or the lot, because the original Pur, or the original lot, was to kill all of them. So even in the name itself is flipping everything around. Purim, what was meant to kill me, the Most High turned it around for my good, which goes back to Joseph, when his brothers threw him in that pit. And what he said to them when they came back and discovered him in Egypt, what you meant for bad, the Most High meant for good. You know what I'm saying? So this is all flipped around, and that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation, every family, every province, and every city, and that these days of Purim should not fail from among the Jews, nor the memorial of them perish from their seed. So again, just like everything else, this is a covenant forever. Now, this is man-made versus, something that the Most High ordained, which is absolutely mandatory. But this is of such a thing of high honor that, yes, it's something that we should celebrate as well. I'm not sure if I recall Yahushua celebrating Purim by name. I can't think of that, but I know he did the Feast of Dedication, which was something that also was mandated first somewhat by Solomon when they did the temple, and then again in Maccabees. So I know he did that one. I would assume that he did Purim as well, because again, it's a thing of high honor. So anyway, like I said, I suggest that everybody. Oh, let me read this. And he sent letters. He sent letters unto all the Jews. Did I read this already? No. And Esther the queen, the daughter of Abihail, and Mordecai the Jew wrote with all authority to confirm this second letter of Purim. So get this again. What happens with Israel? We have Yah, we have Yahushua, we have Israel. Israel is the government under Yahushua that orchestrates the entire world. What does this say? Mordecai the Jew, Esther and Mordecai the Jew wrote with all authority. This is again been prophetically speaking about Israel to confirm this second letter of Purim. And he sent the letters unto all the Jews to the 127 provinces of the kingdom of Ahasuerus with words of peace and truth, to confirm these days of Purim in their times appointed, according as Mordecai the Jew and Esther the queen had enjoined them. You can even look at Mordecai the Jew and Esther the queen as the two houses of Israel. You can look at them as the two houses of Israel coming together, because we were gathered together to rule the entire earth, which is the marriage, all of that type stuff. It's all prophetic. And again, the battle axes of war, when we were talking about that, that's like the Feast of Trumpets right there, because that's when Yahushua is coming back to torch the nations pretty much. And then he's going to end up bidding us. I forgot. And the next thing that comes is tabernacles. We're all going to be dwelling together, and then into the kingdom, which is the last great day, and which is a joyous occasion. We already read about this being a good day, good news, joyous feast, blah, blah, blah. It's all symbolic and it's all prophetic. As Mordecai the Jew and Esther the queen had enjoined them, and as they had decreed for themselves and for their seed the matters of the fastings and their cry, all a part of it. And the decree of Esther confirmed these matters of Purim, and it was written in the book. So anyway, we won't go any further, even though I would love to. It's not that much, a few more which goes. But anyway, everybody, please read it for yourselves and just swallow these things up. It's a wonderful, wonderful tale. And again, Purim is actually going to be Wednesday, Tuesday and Wednesday next week. Those are the 13th, the 14th, and 15 days of Adar. So I guess since I got you guys up so late right now. But so far, did everybody kind of understand? I know I started talking pretty fast there, but does everybody get what we were talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, hey, I really appreciate you guys' attention. Sorry for being so long, but it's a great day. It's a great, joyous occasion. But anyway, with that, I guess we'll go ahead and pray ourselves out and let that be that. Father, thank you so much again for another day. Thank you for giving us understanding of Purim, and again showing us your prophecy and your plan. Indeed, you have never forgotten about us, Father. It's always been us that's played the role of the feminist and have not submitted to you. But Father, we come to you now because we choose to submit to you. We choose to submit to your order and to come correct as the nation. And submit to you in your order and orchestrate your rule and orchestrate your orders, going forward, Father. Help us, embolden us, just like you emboldened Esther and Mordecai to that victory, just like you were behind them and conquered those of the entire nation when all seemed against them. We know that you're doing the same thing for us, Father. So help us to move forward with that faith, with that understanding and that knowledge. Help us to be bold and help us to be obedient as well, Father. We ask you to forgive us for our sins, and we ask you to help us to dedicate ourselves to you and to our people. Help us to love our people. We are supposed to be together. We are a family, masculine and feminine, so we can come together and do what you call us to do. In Yahweh's name we pray. Hallelujah. All right. Well, hey,
Amen.
Well, hey, certainly appreciate you guys. Thanks for sticking with us so long. And until next time, shalom.
Shalom.
Recordings.
Hey, so guys, by all means, please go and continue reading that. That will be very beneficial for those who are watching the scripture readings. And I hope y'all enjoyed Awaken Israel Bible study, and shalom.